Hello and welcome to another blog. In this video I will be showing you another common mistake, which is a serious fault which can cost you your test. So in this video I'm going to show you when you approach towards the junction what you can do to avoid that silly mistake which can cost you your test. Now what we need to understand over here is when I'm making this video, when this video hits 0, not only you will be able to understand that serious fault, but also when you'll be in your test you'll be able to avoid it. That's from the test perspective. Let's just talk about driving anywhere, any part of the world you're driving, whether you're sitting on a right-hand steering wheel side or if your steering wheel side is on the left-hand side, whether you're driving an automatic car or whether you're driving a manual car, it doesn't matter. No matter how big or small your car is, if you do this simple thing, you can actually save yourself for being into a collision. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. Please note we make these videos for your own benefit, so if you do like these videos, leave us a comment, let me know which more videos you want me to make. It's all the best. If you look at this car is waiting to turn right or left, so we can imagine that this car is waiting to turn right. So when you're approaching towards the junction, first of all we need to understand what these white lines are for. So what that simple means is, if I can grab my pen, what that simple means is that when you're approaching towards double white solid lines, that means give way. Means you have to give way to the main road or the traffic which is on the main road. Anybody who's coming from that side, or anybody who's coming from this side, for example. So anybody coming from that side or anybody coming from this side, for example, you have to give them way in order to turn right. In other words, you can also say this is exit, this is enter. It means if this car is coming towards this side, they can only enter from this side, but they cannot enter from that side. So you need to understand that concept when you are approaching towards the junction. So let's say you're waiting to turn right, for example. Most of the time when you are in a busy areas, these junctions over here, sometimes you have got parked cars parked in the corner, which makes your life a lot more difficult when you approach towards the junction. So what happens is, what the learners do is they keep that same thinking in their mind, and once they approach towards the junction, even if their view is restricted, they just literally think in their mind, oh, it's clear, so we could just carry on going. So when they carry on going, if they approach, let's say here, and there's a car coming behind this parked car, you become so close, and at this point, which is an instant fail. So if we could just look at this scenario one more time. So you're waiting to turn right here. What I do is, to avoid that silly mistake and to avoid this serious fault, what you need to do is when you approach very, very slowly towards and cross the giveaway lines and stop here and then look right and left. You lean forward and make sure that your view is clear on this side and your view is clear who is coming from that side. So it's very, very important to look and to make sure that you can look right and left properly and it's safe for you to go. What I always say is, ask yourself this question when I approach towards the junction and when I am stopping at the junctions, and if my view is not clear, what I ask myself this question: can I go? Is it safe to go? Is it safe to go on my right? Is it safe to go on my left? Is it clear on my right? Is it clear on my left? And when I get this answer, I straight away make the move and I just go. So that's just one scenario we're talking about. Once you lean forward, in other words, in driving terminology, we call it peep and creep technique, crawling technique if you want to call it. You keep crawling, and if your view is clear, then you can just carry on going on that road. That's not a problem at all. Here's another scenario. Let's say there is nobody on the right and there's nobody on the left. and you approach towards the junction and you know there's nobody on the right and there's nobody on the left, but your view is restricted by some fences around here, or it could be any extended walls around here in this area which is restricting your view, or in that area which is restricting your view, just stop the car. Just look right and left and make sure it's safe for you to move, and then go. Yeah, the whole point is, the most important thing is, never assume that it's safe to go. That's the whole point. This is the way to deal with these junctions. Never assume there's nobody here. Always assume there's always somebody there who can come around. So once you know it's clear, once you see it with your own eyes, then you can make the move and save yourself from making that serious fault which can cost you a test. What are the consequences if you are driving and if you ignore these things? So I can give you another scenario. For example, there is a car coming from this side and that's very close, and you see this, you approach towards the giveaway lines and you think, oh, I don't have to stop because it's just a giveaway, and if it's clear I can go. And you just carry on going. You've just looked on right and looked on your left, and you misjudged it. Because of your misjudgment, by the time you approach here, this car can come too close, and then at this point in your real life, it's a collision. Why? Because you simply did not stop and you did not have a look. So this is a real life consequence. There could be someone sitting in their car, there could be kids in there. You have probably got kids in your car, or maybe an elderly, you don't know. But you can save all of that by just waiting over here. Give yourself a few seconds, check your right and left, and once it's clear, you can carry on going. Happy days. This is one simple technique, guys, and if you can try it, once you approach towards the junction, you can avoid being in a collision, or in your test, you can avoid that serious mistake which can cost you your test. Some of the trainers, what they say is, because of the giveaway signs, you don't have to stop, which is true. If this junction is an open junction where your view as you approach here is clear from this side, it's clear from that side, you don't have to stop. You can carry on going because these are giveaway lines. But what I always say is, if you think the junction is very close, it's a tight junction, then I always tell you or encourage you to stop, because in that way you can save yourself from a lot of trouble. So try it out with your instructor, practice it with your trainer, see how you feel about it. These are the mistakes, if you can avoid, your examiner will know that you're observing, you're alert, and he's going to give you a tick mark, at least on the junction when you approach. When you're paying so much money these days, but just to buy a test date, which is ridiculous, but they haven't got no options. They can't do anything. They have to go for the test because they've got jobs lined up, because they've got to do something in their life. So imagine if you just failed because of that silly mistake, which can cost you £300–400, you'd have to live with a remorse. And obviously, I don't want you to make those mistakes. At least with the best of your ability, learn them and then try them out. Okay, like I said, any questions, any comments, leave it below. Until the next video, you take care. Goodbye.